All right, let's start this with some serious energy, because what we're about to talk about is not your typical before and after story. This isn't about who got a better haircut, who hit the gym, or who found their perfect camera angle. No, no, no. This is about transformation. The kind that makes you scroll through old videos, pause for a second, and go, wait, that's the same person? Yeah, that kind. When you've been in the spotlight for over a decade like BTS, every change is public. Every growth spurt, every style switch, every emotional shift. But what makes the story so wild isn't just how they look different. It's how they are different. The confidence, the energy, the aura. It's like watching 7 different timelines collide into one cinematic masterpiece. Think about it. These guys started as teenagers chasing a dream in a small, almost unknown company. They had big goals, tiny budgets, and more eyeliner than any of us want to remember. But through the years, they didn't just grow older. They evolved. Their music deepened, their personalities matured, their presence exploded. Each of them went through their own kind of rebirth, some subtle, some shocking, all unforgettable. And yet here's the crazy point. Even as they changed, they never lost who they were. Somehow BTS managed to reinvent themselves without erasing their roots. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. So, buckle up, Army, because this isn't just a glow-up ranking. This is a deep dive into the evolution of 7 men who turned their struggles, insecurities, and dreams into legends. From shy rookies to confident icons, this is the ultimate countdown of ranking the BTS members who changed the most over the years. Let's go.
Number 7. Jin. From worldwide handsome rookie to elegant legend. Let's be honest, when BTS first debuted, Jin was that guy people noticed first because of that face. The visual of the group, the prince-looking one, the worldwide handsome dude who somehow looked like he belonged in a K-drama even while wearing baggy hip-hop clothes. But here's the thing, back then, a lot of people only saw the looks. They didn't see the real story. A guy who was trying to prove that he was more than just a pretty face, that he could earn his place on that stage. And man, did he. When BTS started out in 2013, Jin was awkwardly charming. He wasn't a natural dancer, and he knew it. He'd laugh at himself during practice, sometimes mess up choreography, and try to brush it off with that polite, shy smile. But what people didn't see was how seriously he worked behind the scenes. He would stay late after practice, repeating moves until they became muscle memory. He wasn't just chasing perfection, he was chasing confidence. Because in a group full of powerhouse performers, Jin's transformation had to start from the inside. And somewhere between those early Bangtan bombs and the Love Yourself era, something clicked. Suddenly, Jin wasn't hiding behind the group's energy anymore, he was part of it. His vocals grew stronger, his stage presence sharper. Watch his early live performances versus now, and you'll see it. The way he moves with intention, the way his gaze commands a crowd. He went from the handsome hung to a performer who could silence a stadium with a single note. His turning point? Definitely Epiphany. That song wasn't just a solo, it was a statement. A soft, emotional anthem about self-love sung by someone who had spent years learning exactly that. When Jin performed it, there was this quiet confidence, this emotional honesty that hit different. You could feel how much he'd grown, not just as an artist, but as a person who finally believed in his own worth. But Jin's transformation isn't just about maturity, it's also about personality. Remember when he used to sit quietly in interviews, letting others do the talking? Fast forward a few years and he's the king of dad jokes, the man who'll interrupt an emotional award speech just to shout, "Worldwide handsome," with a totally straight face. That's confidence. That's comfort. That's Jin finally being 100% himself without worrying what anyone thinks. And even his looks, somehow he kept getting better. The classic handsome guy turned into this effortlessly elegant man. During award shows, he looks like royalty. During variety shows, he's chaotic, funny, and down to earth. That balance between elegance and silliness, that's peak Jin. And let's talk about that enlistment era. When Jin shaved his head and walked into the military with that calm smile, the whole fandom went silent for a second. It wasn't sadness, it was pride. Because that moment summed up his journey. From the nervous trainee who once doubted his abilities to the confident, grounded man who leads with dignity. His aura changed. His energy changed. He's no longer the visual of BTS. He's the symbol of growth, grace, and quiet strength. So yeah, Jin's transformation might not be the loudest or flashiest, but it's the kind that hits you deep once you realize how far he's come. From struggling to keep up with choreography to leading ARMI chants, from shy smiles to roaring laughter, from just the handsome one to a legend whose presence feels warm and powerful all at once. Jin didn't just grow up, he glowed up in every possible way. And that's why he's here at number 7, not because he changed the least, but because his evolution is the kind that doesn't scream for attention. It speaks quietly, confidently, and beautifully, just like him.
Number 6. J-Hope. From underground dancer to hope of the world. Before he was the sunshine of BTS, the man with the 1,000-watt smile and the never-ending let's get it energy, J-Hope was just Jungkook from Gwangju, an underground dancer grinding it out in street battles, chasing rhythm and adrenaline. Back then, his world was dance floors and local crews, not global stadiums. But when he joined Big Hit, everything flipped. Suddenly, this street kid with fierce moves and limitless energy was thrown into a world of microphones, lyrics, and cameras. It was a new battlefield, and Hoseok had to learn fast. The early days of BTS were rough for him. He wasn't a rapper, he wasn't a producer. He was the guy trying to make his way into a group built around rap and performance. And you could see the pressure on his face. Imagine going from battling dancers on the streets to battling self-doubt in a tiny practice room. There were times he wanted to quit, times when he felt lost between the beats. But what makes J-Hope's story special is that he didn't. He turned that uncertainty into fuel. Every sweat drop, every extra hour in the studio, it was all part of his transformation. Fast forward to debut. J-Hope was bright, loud, and cheerful on stage, but behind the scenes, he was learning how to own his space. He started writing lyrics, shaping his rap tone, and creating his identity in BTS. He wasn't content being the dance guy. He wanted to be an artist. And the more he learned, the more his confidence grew. By the time Dope and Fire came around, J-Hope wasn't just part of the performance, he was the performance. The way he moved, the way he smiled, the way he hyped the crowd, he embodied the spirit of BTS's energy. But here's where his transformation gets even more interesting. As BTS became global icons, J-Hope didn't just stay the happy-go-lucky one, he evolved into something deeper. Watch his solo work and you'll see it. Daydream wasn't just a fun track, it was his mind talking. Behind all the smiles and high energy was a man wrestling with duality. The idol who's always bright versus the artist who craves honesty. His solo album, Hope World, was like opening a diary of color, chaos, and calm all at once. And that's when people started realizing this guy isn't just the sunshine, he's the sun itself. And then came Jack in the Box, and oh man, talk about transformation. Gone was the cheerful, candy-colored J-Hope of Hope World. In his place stood an artist drenched in raw emotion and darkness, exploring ego, fear, and identity. From More to Arson, his tone was gritty, his lyrics sharp. The world saw a side of J-Hope we'd never seen before. A fearless artist who didn't just want to make people happy, but wanted to make them think. That's what growth looks like. He didn't abandon his old self, he expanded it. And let's not forget Lollapalooza. J-Hope's solo headlining set wasn't just a concert, it was a declaration. It said, I'm not just the energetic guy from BTS, I'm a complete artist. The crowd felt it. His charisma filled the air, but so did his control, his maturity, his command of the moment. There was no safety net. No group behind him, just him, his voice, his art. That takes guts, and you could tell he loved every second of it. What's beautiful about J-Hope's evolution is how he found balance.
He's still the same Hosuk who brings joy, laughter, and chaos to every room. But he's also someone who's unafraid to show vulnerability, complexity, even darkness. His fashion evolved from street dancer chic to luxury runway-level confidence. His body language went from sharp and hungry to smooth and assured. He's mastered the art of being both approachable and iconic. Even in his interactions with fans, you can feel the change. In the early days, he was eager to please, almost shy behind the smiles. Now, he radiates authenticity. When he says he's thankful, it's not scripted, it's felt. You can see the pride in his eyes, the calm in his demeanor. He's become the embodiment of his own name. Hope. But not in a naive way. It's a real hope, one that's been tested, shaped, and earned. And honestly, that's why J-Hope's transformation hits so hard. He didn't just change his image, he grew into his name. He went from the boy who danced for survival to the man who performs for purpose. From underground stages to world festivals, from hidden fears to open flames, J-Hope turned every challenge into light. And maybe that's why no matter how dark the moment, ARMY always says, "Hopey gives me hope." Because he does. Every single time. So yeah, from underground dancer to hope of the world. That's not just a title. That's a journey written in sweat, rhythm, and endless heart.
Number 5. RM. From underground rapper to global philosopher. If you've been here since the early days, you remember that RM, the one with the snapback, bandana, and bars sharp enough to slice through steel. Back when he was known as Rap Monster, he looked like he'd walked straight out of a cipher, spitting verses like his life depended on it. And honestly, it did. Because before BTS became the global juggernaut they are today, Namjoon was an underground rapper, a teenage prodigy who built his name battling in smoky soul basements, earning respect from hip-hop heads long before anyone called him leader. But what makes RM's transformation one of the most fascinating in K-pop history isn't just how far he's come, it's how he changed. Not by abandoning who he was, but by expanding it. Let's rewind to 2013. BTS debuted as a scrappy hip-hop group trying to survive in an industry obsessed with polished pop idols. RM was the center of that fire. The brain, the voice, the one always trying to prove that they were real artists. You could feel the weight of it on his shoulders. Every lyric, every stage, every interview, it was like he had to remind the world, we're not a boy band, we're something more. And honestly, it did. Because before BTS became the global juggernaut they are today, Namjoon was an underground rapper, a teenage prodigy who built his name battling in smoky soul basements, earning respect from hip-hop heads long before anyone called him leader. But what makes ARM's transformation one of the most fascinating in K-pop history isn't just how far he's come, it's how he changed. Not by abandoning who he was, but by expanding it. Let's rewind to 2013. BTS debuted as a scrappy hip-hop group trying to survive in an industry obsessed with polished pop idols. RM was the center of that fire. The brain, the voice, the one always trying to prove that they were real artists. You could feel the weight of it on his shoulders. Every lyric, every stage, every interview, it was like he had to remind the world, we're not a boy band, we're something more. And back then, he was intense, fast-talking, fast-thinking, fast-living. His raps were all edge and adrenaline, his words filled with rebellion, frustration, and dreams too big for the system that boxed him in. But underneath that roughness was a kid who thought too deeply for his age, a thinker trying to find peace in a world that demanded noise. And then came the growth. Slowly, but surely, RM began to soften. Not in weakness, but in wisdom. The bandana gave way to books. The fiery rebel turned into a calm philosopher. Somewhere between Dope and Spring Day, Namjoon evolved into RM, the leader who speaks with patience, empathy, and reflection. His transformation wasn't flashy, it was internal. And that's what makes it so powerful. You can literally see it happen, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he pauses before answering questions now. It's like he learned that silence, too, can be strength. Lyrically, his evolution is breathtaking. Compare No More Dream, that youthful shout of frustration, to Persona, Soul, or Wildflower. You'll hear it, the difference between searching and understanding. RM's music became layered with philosophy, self-awareness, and poetic melancholy. He started writing not just for expression, but for connection. The boy who once rapped about breaking rules now writes about building peace, not just in society, but within himself. His solo projects, Mono and Indigo, feel like therapy sessions wrapped in melody. You don't just listen to them, you feel them. Every track sounds like a deep breath after chaos, a reflection of someone who's made peace with imperfection. And it's not just the music. His leadership matured in ways that deserve a documentary of their own. Remember those early chaotic interviews where the members looked to him for every answer? Now he gives them space to speak, guiding quietly from the background. RM turned leadership into an art form. He doesn't dominate, he nurtures. He doesn't lead by fear, he leads by trust. That's rare, and it's exactly why BTS works the way it does. Then there's the image. Gone are the aggressive, oversized street fits, replaced by clean lines, muted tones, museum-core chic. RM's fashion mirrors his mind, minimalist, thoughtful, refined. And let's be real, his love for art, nature, and literature turned him from idol into intellectual icon. Who else could go viral just for visiting museums or quoting Nietzsche on weavers? Only Namjoon. But the real glow-up isn't external. It's emotional. Early RM was always running from expectations, from criticism, from his own self-doubt. Now he's walking. Still ambitious, still hungry, but grounded. There's a peace in him that comes only after years of fighting to find your place in the world. You see it in his smile now. Softer, freer, lighter. He doesn't just perform anymore. He exists, fully and unapologetically. And yet, despite all that growth, he never lost his roots. Every time he talks about BTS, he sounds like that same teenage kid from Ilsan, proud, grateful, and a little in awe of how far they've come. That humility, that's the core of RM's evolution. He went from a boy who wanted to change the world to a man who understands that change starts within. From spitting bars in underground clubs to speaking at the United Nations, from lyrics about anger to words about healing, RM's journey is one of the most complete transformations we've ever witnessed. He didn't just grow up, he expanded. His world got bigger, his mind got deeper, and his heart got quieter. So yeah, RM's not just a rapper anymore. He's a thinker, a poet, a bridge between chaos and calm. He's the kind of person that makes you want to journal, take a walk in nature, and reevaluate your life choices, all while wearing perfectly tailored pants. From underground rapper to global philosopher, Kim Namjoon didn't just change himself, he changed what it means to grow.
Number 4. Jungkook, from golden maknae to golden icon. When Jungkook first appeared on screen in BTS's debut days, he was this wide-eyed, baby-faced teenager who looked like he accidentally wandered into the wrong music video shoot. He was shy, soft-spoken, and always hiding behind the older members, especially Jimin and Jin. Back then, he wasn't the golden maknae. He was just the youngest kid trying to figure out how to survive in a group full of loud personalities and larger-than-life talent. But little did anyone know, that quiet kid was about to become one of the most powerful forces in modern pop culture. From the start, Jungkook's transformation wasn't just about growing up. It was about growing into himself. He joined BTS when he was only 15. 15! Most of us at that age were stressing over homework, not global fame. He trained under pressure, often unsure if he even had the confidence to perform. The other members have talked about it, how Jungkook used to cry in the studio, worried he wasn't good enough, how he looked up to his taehyungs like they were superheroes. But that insecurity became his biggest motivator. Because when Jungkook decides to master something, he masters it. Singing? Check. Dancing? Check. Rapping, producing, boxing, drawing, filming, working out, cooking. The guy turned perfectionism into a lifestyle. Early Jungkook was adorable, let's admit it. The floppy hair, the shy glances, the polite answers in interviews. But somewhere around the dope era, something changed. His stage presence exploded. You could see it in his eyes, that spark of confidence, that switch from, "I hope I do well," to, "I know I got this." His voice started to mature, his moves became sharper, and his expressions? Deadly. Suddenly, the kid who used to hide behind the others was front and center, leading choruses and commanding the crowd like it was the most natural thing in the world. And then came the golden era, literally. Euphoria, My Time, Begin. Each solo track showed another layer of Jungkook's evolution. Begin was his letter to the Taehyungs, emotional, raw, grateful. Euphoria was pure light, a celebration of freedom and joy. And My Time? That one hit different. You could feel the weight of growing up in the spotlight, the loneliness, the constant chase for identity. That's when people realized Jungkook wasn't just a prodigy, he was a storyteller. Through every lyric, every look, every movement, he was showing us who he was becoming. By the time BTS reached their global peak, stadium tours, Grammys, the works, Jungkook had fully stepped into his power. He wasn't just the youngest member anymore. He was the ace, the one who could sing, dance, and perform at a level that made even non-fans stop and stare. But yet what makes his transformation so magnetic isn't the talent itself, it's the humility. Despite being praised as one of the most gifted idols in K-pop history, Jungkook still treats every stage like his first. He still bows deeply, still thanks the staff, still blushes when fans cheer too loudly. It's that mix of superstar and soft-hearted that makes him so irresistible. And then, just when everyone thought they'd seen peak Jungkook, he reinvented himself again. Enter the solo era. The tattoos, the piercings, the muscle, the confidence, the full grown man energy. Songs like Seven and Standing Next to You didn't just show his vocal power, they showed his freedom. Jungkook finally looked like someone living his life, not just following a script. He was sensual, bold, and unapologetically himself. A far cry from the shy boy who once couldn't make eye contact on camera. The Golden Maknae had become a global icon, a performer who could headline any stage in the world and own it. But here's what's even more impressive. Jungkook's transformation isn't just about image or artistry. It's about emotional evolution. Over the years, he's been open about his perfectionism, how it used to eat him up inside, how he felt he was never doing enough. But somewhere along the way, you could see the shift. He stopped chasing perfection and started chasing joy. Now when he performs, there's this effortless energy, like he's finally comfortable being exactly who he is. You can see it in the way he laughs on stage, in the way he interacts with ARMY, in the way he talks about wanting to just live honestly. It's not about proving himself anymore. It's about being himself. Even his relationships with the members reflect that growth. He went from the baby everyone protected to the dependable powerhouse everyone relies on. He's the one who helps with production, who hypes the team, who shows up with quiet strength when it's needed. That's not the Maknae role. That's the mark of someone who's grown into a leader in his own right. And let's talk aesthetics, because Jungkook's look evolution is practically a timeline of his confidence. From the fresh-faced kid in snapbacks to the man covered in art, every tattoo feels like a declaration of independence. Every piercing, every style change, every intense gaze says, "This is me now. Take it or leave it." And the world took it and made him one of the most streamed, most watched, and most beloved soloists of his generation. So yeah, Jungkook didn't just grow up, he leveled up. He went from being BTS's youngest member to an artist whose name alone commands attention worldwide. From hiding behind his Taehyungs to standing front and center on global stages, from sweet boy to confident man, from golden Maknae to golden icon. And maybe that's why his transformation hit so hard, because we all grew up watching him grow. We saw the awkward smiles, the insecurities, The milestones, the breakthroughs. We saw a boy become a man, a student become a master, and a dreamer become a legend. And through it all, Jungkook never stopped being, well, Jungkook. The same kid who just wanted to sing, dance, and make people smile. Only now, he's doing it on a global scale, and doing it better than ever.
Number 3, V. From mysterious visual to artistic enigma. If BTS were a movie, V would be that scene-stealing character who barely says a word but somehow leaves you haunted for days. From day one, Kim Taehyung was a mystery wrapped in a Gucci suit, unpredictable, magnetic, and just the right amount of weird. You never quite knew what he was going to do next, and that's exactly what made him so fascinating. But what's truly mind-blowing about V's transformation is how he went from being the group's odd one out, the random, quirky visual with a boxy smile, to one of the most respected and intriguing artists in the entire industry. His evolution isn't just about image, it's about turning individuality into art. Let's go back to debut days. Funny thing, V wasn't even revealed as a member until right before BTS debuted. He was literally a secret weapon. Fans first saw this handsome kid with deep eyes and immediately went, "Wait, who is that?" And honestly, V didn't even know how to handle that attention. He was awkward, goofy, blurting out random comments in interviews, laughing at his own jokes, confusing everyone, but somehow charming them anyway. He was 4D, that's what Koreans called him, meaning he existed on a slightly different wavelength than the rest of us. And that was true. While others were practicing serious expressions, V was busy inventing his own genre of weird. But here's where it gets interesting. That quirkiness became his foundation. As BTS grew, V learned how to channel his strangeness, to shape it into something intentional, artistic, and deeply emotional. Watch the Hwarang era when he started acting. That's when people first saw another layer of him. Beneath the goofiness was sensitivity, empathy, depth. He wasn't just performing, he was feeling. Acting unlocked something in him. It made him realize that his weird wasn't weird at all. It was artistic instinct. And once that door opened, V's evolution went into full bloom. His voice, once shy and unsure, developed into this deep, honey-smooth tone that feels like velvet for your ears. It's not technically flashy, it's soulful. It's the kind of voice that makes you stop what you're doing because it feels like it's talking directly to your heart. Songs like Singularity and Stigma weren't just solo stages, they were moments. The world collectively went, "Oh, he's not just the visual, he's an artist." His stage presence became hypnotic. That slow gaze, that effortless grace, the way he moves like he's underwater but still in control. Watching V perform feels less like watching an idol and more like witnessing a living piece of cinema. And speaking of cinema, that's exactly how he started curating his life. Somewhere between 2018 and 2020, Taehyung turned his existence into a vintage film. His love of photography, old jazz, black and white aesthetics, and quiet moments turned him into the face of this new artistic masculinity, calm, refined, mysterious, emotional. His Instagram, it wasn't a feed, it was an art exhibit. Every post looked like it belonged in a gallery, moody lighting, analog textures, understated beauty. While other idols were posting selfies, V was posting feelings. But the best part about V's transformation is how he didn't lose his essence in the process. He's still that same chaotic, giggly soul who makes the weirdest faces on variety shows and gets scolded for spacing out during interviews. The difference is, now he knows how to own it. What used to make him stand out awkwardly now makes him stand out effortlessly. His duality is unreal. One minute he's Taehyung, the soft boy who loves his dog Yeontan and plays jazz on vinyl. The next he's V, the icon walking for Celine like a runway god. He didn't choose between the two, he became both. Then came Layover, his solo album, and honestly, one of the most beautiful artistic statements ever made by a K-pop idol. Instead of chasing chart-topping sounds, V chose vibe. Every track oozes retro soul, quiet heartbreak, and cinematic intimacy. It's the kind of music you listen to on a rainy night with warm lights and a glass of wine. The album didn't scream for attention, it whispered. But somehow that whisper traveled across the world. That's V's power. He doesn't demand find your focus, he draws it without trying. Even his fashion and demeanor evolved in perfect sync. Early V wore bright colors, crazy patterns, and accessories that made him look like a walking art project in the best way. Now, his style is minimal yet luxurious, muted tones, timeless silhouettes, the kind of look that makes you wonder if he was born in a Parisian jazz bar. His aura has matured from eccentric and unpredictable to enigmatic and magnetic. But it's still him, still that same boy with wide eyes, big dreams, and zero filter, just more refined, more self-assured, more intentional. What makes V's transformation so unique is how it mirrors his personality growth. He didn't just mature, he deepened. He learned to embrace solitude, to express love through subtlety, to connect with fans in ways that feel intimate rather than grand. When he speaks now, his words are slow, thoughtful, like someone who's lived many lives and still finds beauty in small things. He's not just performing anymore, he's curating emotion. So yeah, V went from mysterious visual to artistic enigma, but that doesn't even cover it fully. He became a mood, an aesthetic, a feeling. He's that rare kind of artist who doesn't need to shout to make an impact. His silence speaks louder than words. Every expression, every song, every tiny smirk carries a universe of meaning. From the unpredictable boy who once forgot to introduce himself properly at BTS's debut showcase, to the global muse who defines a generation's concept of style and soul, V's transformation is proof that true artistry isn't about changing who you are, it's about becoming more of yourself. He didn't just glow up, he evolved into a masterpiece.
Number 2. Jimin. From shy dancer to global sensation. If we're talking about transformation stories that hit you right in the heart, Jimin's is the kind that deserves its own movie. Because this isn't just about an idol who got more confident over the years. This is about a boy who literally rebuilt himself from the inside out. From a shy Busan kid who almost didn't make it to debut, to one of the most magnetic performers in the world, Jimin's journey is what happens when perfectionism meets passion. And somehow, love wins. Let's rewind. Picture Jimin back in 2013, bright-eyed, polite, trying his absolute hardest to stand out in a group already overflowing with talent. He was the last member to join BTS, and he trained under brutal pressure. The company saw potential in his background as a contemporary dancer, but potential wasn't enough. Jimin himself has admitted he was scared he wouldn't make the final lineup. He'd stay up all night practicing, pushing himself to the brink, to the point where the other members begged him to rest. But that's Jimin. His drive for excellence was unmatched, even back then. He wanted to be worthy. You could see it in every move, every expression, every time he hit the stage, that hunger to prove himself. But here's where it gets emotional. Early Jimin wasn't confident. He smiled brightly for cameras, but behind the scenes, he was fighting self-doubt like it was a full-time job. He worried about his vocals, his body, his image, everything. There's an old interview where he said he used to hate watching himself perform because all he could see were flaws. That vulnerability, that need to be perfect, became both his biggest burden and his biggest fuel. Because every ounce of insecurity turned into fire, and that fire made him unstoppable. Fast forward to the I Need You and Run eras. That's when the world started to notice him. Suddenly, Jimin wasn't just the dancer anymore. He was the performer, the one whose every movement told a story. The way he controlled his body, fluid, elegant, almost like water, was mesmerizing. But it wasn't just skill, it was emotion. When Jimin dances, it's like his soul is showing. You feel his joy, his pain, his softness, his strength, all in one glance. And that's rare. That's what makes him unforgettable. Then came the vocals. Remember Lie? That haunting, spine-tingling solo where Jimin poured out his inner conflict in the most dramatic way possible? That's when people went, oh, he can sing. His voice, delicate yet powerful, emotional yet precise, became one of BTS's most defining sounds. You can hear how much he's grown when you compare Lie to his later solos like Serendipity and Filter. The boy who once doubted his voice now commands it like an instrument. Every breath, every note, every sigh, calculated, but also deeply felt. And the visuals?
Let's be honest, Jimin's transformation visually is next-level cinematic. From the slightly insecure teen with round cheeks to the confident global star who owns every red carpet, it's like watching a butterfly unfold in real time. But again, it's not vanity. His beauty evolved the same way his artistry did, with intention. He's never trying to look perfect, he just is when he's being authentic. Jimin doesn't perform beauty, he embodies grace. That's why fans call him ethereal. But here's what makes Jimin's evolution so iconic. It's emotional transparency. In an industry where idols are often guarded, Jimin has always been real about his feelings. He talks about insecurity, love, exhaustion, and gratitude with a kind of honesty that feels rare. When BTS was at their peak and everyone was talking about their success, Jimin was the one saying, "I still want to do better." When they won their first song, he cried harder than anyone else, not because he wanted attention, but because it genuinely meant something to him. That sincerity is why fans feel so connected to him. He doesn't just perform for them, he performs with them. And then 2023 came, and Jimin became the first BTS member to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 as a soloist with Like Crazy. Think about that. The same kid who once thought he wasn't good enough ended up topping the world's biggest music chart. That's not luck, that's a decade of discipline, growth, and heart. Like Crazy isn't just a catchy pop track, it's a full circle moment. It's Jimin stepping into the spotlight completely on his own, no longer hiding behind the group, no longer second-guessing his worth. But fame didn't change him. Even now, with the world calling him a global icon, he's still that warm, thoughtful person who thanks staff one by one after shoots, who hugs his members like it's the last time, who still tears up when fans sing along. His humility is his anchor. His kindness is his power. And his artistry, that's his legacy. Over the years, Jimin has transformed from a shy dancer to a symbol of vulnerability turned strength. He didn't grow by becoming louder, he grew by becoming realer. His story isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance, about how the softest heart can still make the loudest impact. He's not just the golden boy or angel fans call him, he's proved that sensitivity, when embraced, becomes superpower. Jimin taught an entire generation that it's okay to cry, to doubt, to love, to heal, and still shine brighter than ever before. So yeah, from shy dancer to global sensation, Jimin didn't just rise, he bloomed. And the world? We're all just lucky to be watching.
Number 1. Suga. From underground rebel to healing sage. If there's one BTS member whose transformation feels like a full-blown novel, dark, raw, poetic, and redemptive, it's Min Yoongi, better known as Suga. His story isn't just about fame or glow-up aesthetics. It's about survival, identity, and finding peace after years of fighting invisible wars. Because when you look at who he was at debut, the sharp-tongued underground rapper with a chip on his shoulder, and compare him to who he is now, the calm, wise, brutally honest producer who heals millions through his words, you realize Suga didn't just change, he evolved. Let's roll back to the early 2010s. Before BTS, Yoongi was known in the Daegu hip-hop scene as Gloss. He was writing bars that could burn, competing in underground battles, and producing beats that made local rappers sit up straight. He wasn't just talented, he was hungry. But hunger doesn't always come from ambition. For Yoongi, it came from struggle. He said it himself. He grew up with little money, worked multiple jobs, and even sold songs to help pay rent. Music wasn't a hobby, it was escape. It was therapy. It was the only thing keeping him going. When he joined Big Hit, he didn't dream of becoming a global idol. He just wanted to make music. The idea of dancing, of flashy choreography and polished visuals, totally alien. But somehow this underground lyricist found himself in the world's biggest pop phenomenon. And instead of resisting it, he redefined it. He brought hip-hop authenticity into idol culture, the truth-telling, the grit, the vulnerability. And in doing so, he created a new kind of idol, one who doesn't hide his scars, but turns them into stories. Back then, Suga's lyrics hit hard.
Songs like Tomorrow and The Last weren't sugar-coated. They were confessions. He talked about depression, anxiety, burnout, and self-worth long before it was common for idols to be open about mental health. He didn't care about being perfect. He cared about being real. That honesty made him a lifeline for millions of fans who saw themselves in his struggles. Because while the world saw BTS rising, Suga let you see what it cost. And that vulnerability? That's what turned him from a rapper into a writer of truths. But here's what's fascinating. Yoongi's transformation didn't happen with one big aha moment. It was slow, subtle, and deeply internal. Early Suga was fire, sharp, restless, sometimes angry at the world. Mid-era Suga became reflective, questioning why he felt empty even when success surrounded him. And now, he's reached a state that feels almost zen. Watching him today, you can tell he's made peace with himself. His tone, his posture, even his silence. Everything about him radiates calm. He's not chasing anything anymore. He's being. You see that evolution most clearly through his August D trilogy, his solo alter ego project that maps his emotional journey better than any documentary could. The first August D mixtape, 2016, was fire and fury, full of raw anger, ego, and trauma. It was Yoongi screaming into the void, reclaiming his identity outside BTS. Then came D2, 2020, where that fire turned into reflection. He began questioning fame, success, and self-image. What do I really want now that I have everything? And finally, in D-Day 2023, he found the answer. The rage turned to acceptance. The pain became perspective. Instead of fighting his demons, he started talking to them. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And his live performances? Completely different energy now. The man who once stalked the stage like a lion now moves like someone in conversation with the crowd. He doesn't perform at them, he performs with them. Watching Suga on the D-Day World Tour was like attending a group therapy session disguised as a concert. He shared stories, laughter, even tears. He didn't try to look untouchable. He looked human, and fans loved him even more for it. Let's talk about his role behind the scenes too, because while everyone knows him as a rapper and performer, Yoongi's influence as a producer is massive. He's crafted hits not only for BTS, but also for IU, Epic High, Saran, Psy, and countless others. But what's amazing is his touch. Every song he produces carries that unmistakable Yoongi DNA, emotional depth, subtle melancholy, and honesty. He doesn't make music for trends, he makes it for truth, and that's what sets him apart. Even visually, Suga's transformation mirrors his emotional growth. Gone are the fierce undercuts, chains, and rebellion-stained looks. Today, his aesthetic is clean, classic, effortless. Think linen shirts, neutral tones, quiet confidence. His entire aura has shifted from "I'll fight you" to "I've already fought and I've made peace with it." He's proof that strength doesn't always roar, sometimes it just breathes. And perhaps the most beautiful part of his evolution, how open-hearted he's become. Early Suga rarely smiled on camera. He said he wasn't good with expressing affection. Now, he hugs his members more. He laughs easily. He tears up on stage. He even tells ARMY that he loves them in the softest, most Yoongi way possible. It's not a show, it's real. That's the quiet miracle of his transformation. Watching a man who once hid behind walls slowly let the world in. So when we say Suga went from underground rebel to healing sage, it's not an exaggeration, it's a full-circle metamorphosis. He started as someone who rapped about fighting the system. Now he's someone who understands it and teaches others how to survive it without losing themselves. His growth reminds us that healing isn't the absence of pain, it's learning to live with it gracefully. Min Yoongi's evolution isn't flashy. It's not the kind that screams for attention. It's the kind that hums quietly in your chest, reminding you that peace is possible even after chaos. From underground basements to world stadiums, from sharp-tongued rebellion to gentle wisdom, Suga didn't just change his image, he changed his energy. He's not just BTS's producer or rapper anymore. He's their heartbeat, their grounding force, their mirror. The man who once rapped, "I'm fine, thank you," and you, with a smirk, now means it with serenity. From underground rebel to healing sage, Suga's journey isn't about losing fire. It's about mastering it.